It was preventable. They're the words that haunt Simon and his son, Nicky Tadros. Nicky survived the SeaWorld helicopter crash a little over 2 years ago. His mum, Vanessa, did not. They have waited so long for answers. To learn there were 11 serious safety breaches. Simon calls it a disgrace. Your wife has died and your son's in a really bad way.
They were the worst words I've ever heard in my life.
If anyone knows how quickly life can change, it's Simon and Nicky Tadros.
2 SeaWorld helicopters have collided mid-air.
10-year-old Nicky was among those seriously injured in the crash on the Gold Coast in January 2023.
He broke nearly everything from top to bottom. You know, his arms, his legs, his sternum, his hips, his thighs, his legs.
Also broken was little Nicky's heart, grieving his mum Vanessa, who didn't survive, as he was in the fight of his life. Dad Simon by his side every step of the way.
If he's fighting this type of fight, I'm just gonna fight it with him.
G'day guys, how are you?
Good.
We first met Nicky 2 months after the crash. He endured more than 30 surgeries, including the amputation of his right leg. And we all fell in love with his spirit.
Nervous at the beginning because I thought they'd get a chainsaw and chop it off from Bunnings Warehouse.
What are you most looking forward to when you get out?
Living a normal life again.
You're standing and walking on your new leg.
Yeah.
After 4 months in hospital, Nicky was home. Dad!
How good is it? How good is it?
Is that the best sight in the world?
It is. It's awesome.
Australia rallying around the family as they adjusted to their new normal. More than 2 years on, Nicky's strength has taken him so far. Now 12, he just started high school. That same strength will no doubt help the family get through this next chapter, finding out what caused the crash that changed the course of their lives. Nicky and Simon Tadros join me now in the studio. Nicky, can I just say, you're looking pretty sharp, mate. Is this a new hairdo?
Yeah, I cut off my ponytail.
The rat's tail's gone, isn't it? Dad pretty happy about that?
Yeah, it was a big change, but I still got the ponytail at home.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
Hey, look, now some of the things that we're about to chat about are pretty heavy for a 12-year-old, but I mean, Simon, you've always been pretty open and honest with Nicky, haven't you?
I have. Well, I've never hidden anything from Nicholas. We've been very open with each other since the day it happened.
All right, hey, Nicky, if there's anything we're talking about now, you just tell me, okay, if you're uncomfortable. Promise?
Promise.
Okay, because this report has been a long time coming and you now know what went so wrong. How do you feel about it?
Pretty upset. A word to describe it would be disgraceful. It was a very hard bullet to swallow. It was a very tough read when I got that report.
Yeah. In that report there are 28 findings, but in that there were 11 major safety issues. 11.
Yeah, it's 11 too many. I mean, when you're doing a high-risk operation such as flying a helicopter, there's no room for error. In my eyes, there is more than SeaWorld helicopters. There's more than them that have to answer to this.
Let's talk about some of the main ones, because I think one of the most shocking was that there was a broken antenna, which means that a call from one helicopter to the other was never received, and it had been broken for days. How does no one pick that up?
Well, that's what surprises me. I mean, besides the fact that it was broken, they found the socket to be eroded. There was a lot of corrosion on there. So corrosion doesn't happen overnight. I know the ATSB report shows that all the maintenance schedule was up to date, but how well was the maintenance being made is what makes me wonder.
There was also this conflict point, so that's where the flight paths of the two choppers met. So basically, as one's landing and one is taking off, they overlap. I mean, I don't understand how that happens, and this was actually a conversation that you had with your wife Vanessa that day before they went on the flight.
Yeah, and you know what? Ever since that report came out, those words have hit me even harder. It was amazing how quick, how fast they were turning over those helicopters, how close they were together. And I was looking up in the sky and I was amazed, I was dumbfounded. And as I said to my wife, you know, I was just surprised. And she said to me, you know, she goes to me, babe, I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing.
When you see them then, like they're landing and taking off so closely together that their paths cross, that they couldn't communicate with each other, you know, it in a way it's like this perfect storm.
It is a perfect storm, and I think that's been the consensus with a lot of people. It's a recipe for disaster.
I mean, it also found that there were black spots in the cockpit and that passengers weren't properly restrained. I mean, it's mistake after mistake.
It is, and I mean, obviously the seatbelts is not what caused the accident, you know, but we all do know that seatbelts can obviously prevent serious injury or even loss of life.
And I mean, you think these joy flights, right? They take off with excited families on board constantly, all day, every day, and it just so happens on the day you were there, it ended so tragically.
Unfortunately, and you know what? I do pray for all the families that lost a loved one. I mean, I pray that everyone's been able to find some form of peace and been able to move on. But unfortunately, it happened to us. Wish it never did.
So, Nikki, do you understand then much of like what we're talking about now and what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I just don't want this to happen to anyone else. The amount of pain that they put us through, I can't imagine what other people would feel when they see what happened to their family if they were in this accident.
Yeah.
So I hope this doesn't happen to anyone else.
Yeah. Well, that's what we hope comes from this report, right? Yeah. So much has happened since then and you're getting on with life and you're doing so much. Do you ever think about that time?
I do think about it. I go visit my mum, and that's when I do mainly think about it. But honestly, Mum's somewhere better. She's in heaven, just enjoying life. The accident, obviously it put me and Dad in a pretty bad place. But, I mean, we still got through it.
We did. We got each other.
Did you ever know that you could be so strong?
No. I didn't. There were people praying for us everywhere.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, without Jesus and his power, we wouldn't be as good as we are today.
Yeah. So I know you guys talk about everything pretty openly, but there was something that your dad wouldn't show you until yesterday. What was that?
The wreckage. I saw it. It was hard to see.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was always a day where I had to see it. And I didn't want my first day seeing it to be in court. But the way I look at it is I survived that. And it's actually, in my opinion, it's pretty cool having a prosthetic leg. But, I mean, I survived that where some adults couldn't. And that's how I look at it.
You know, you're a soldier, Nikki, and I reckon you are the bravest person I have ever met.
Thank you.
Are you proud of him of how he handled you showing him the wreckage? That's a
It's always a big thing. It's been a talking point for us for a few months. I'm proud of Nicholas for everything. I mean, the way he's handled himself, the way he's bounced back, he's so resilient.
Yeah. Well, it was a big day then yesterday. You saw that, but you were also at the hospital all afternoon at Westmead. What was that for?
Just my leg's going a bit short, so
Okay.
getting, they mould my leg for a new one.
Because every time you grow, right, you need a new prosthetic leg.
Yeah.
And you're growing pretty quick, I tell you what. I reckon it's like this much since I last saw you.
High school.
Yeah, exactly. High school's a big thing. But are you having much pain with it?
My left hip is a big problem.
So does it hurt right now?
Yeah. But
I'm sorry.
it's all good. I'm going to get my hip replacement done one day, and I just got to fight through it until that happens.
I mean, emotionally, you guys are going through much, and physically as well. How helpful has SeaWorld Helicopters been, and how much assistance are you getting from them?
Nothing at all, to be honest. I haven't received any financial relief from them whatsoever. It's made life very hard, having a young man to raise, all the cost of living,
Yeah.
all that, and I can't even get back to work, even if I wanted to. There's still so much happening. So to get no relief from SeaWorld Helicopters, it's a bit harsh.
Can I just say, I think it's disgusting that, you know, like I get that there is due process and that these things take time, but we are 2 and a bit years on.
It's pretty harsh. I mean, I've got a great solicitor firm like Turner & Freeman. They're my solicitors, so I'm pretty sure they know what the due process is. But there are weeks I'm only left with $30 in my pocket. You know, and sometimes I have to say to Nicholas, sorry, champ, just wait till next week, you know, so...
And that's hard when you have worked hard. You and your wife have worked hard every single day your whole life.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, all the money that we saved, it's gone.
And look, this isn't something I'd normally raise, you know, with a kid, but again, you're different, Nikki. But how are you both going dealing with grief?
It's not easy.
Have you given yourself the time? That's been my one fear, that you both haven't done that.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than what I thought. I thought once I'd get out of hospital, just things would get back to normal. But nothing's really changed. But on the inside, there's still a lot of stuff that we're both suffering.
Do you talk about your mum lots with your dad? All the good stories?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely do. One thing we've always put in our minds is that we've got to make mum proud, you know, and we will do everything that we can to move forwards, to stay positive, and I think she is proud, you know. What do you reckon, Nikki? Do you reckon she's proud?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you know she's watching, so it means you have to do your homework every night too, because, you know...
I think 2 hours is enough.
Are you doing 2 hours of homework every night?
Yeah.
How is high school, by the way? Because, I mean, you're in year 7. That's a big deal. I want to hear all about it.
High school's good. I've made heaps of friends. I'm now getting included.
A little birdie told me that you might be a chatterbox in class. Sound about right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do. What do you want to do when you leave school?
Pilot.
Dad, how do we feel about that?
You know, I was very surprised, but I was very proud of him, because when he said to me, Dad, I'm still going to be a pilot, I looked at him and I had to think twice, and I said, are you sure? And he just turned around bluntly and said to me, I'm not going to let this accident stop me doing what I want to do. I'm happy to support him as long as he gets me those first-class tickets when he's a pilot.
So you know what, I reckon you're in year 7, you're doing all your homework. Do you reckon you're smarter than Dad now?
Be careful.
Mate, I reckon you're smarter than both of us.
I'm not going to comment on that.
That's him agree. Hey, look, I always love seeing you, as you know. Look after yourselves. I know there's a lot of mixed emotions around the report that's just come down, but we always like to see you, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Ali.